Hi everyone, it's me, Davidson, and I'm going to share to you how I approach a text in order to understand and remember. So this video is recorded using an online tool called Screencast, and it's a tool to capture everything that is going on your computer display into a video format. So this video is prepared as a course requirement for GE 6533, the Teaching of Language Learning Strategies, under the supervision of Professor Dr Amin Embi. So today we are working on this text here, uh, the Language Learning Styles and Strategies and Overview by Rebecca Oxford. So let's get it started. I will demonstrate to you how to understand and memorize the typology of LLS. So I will share you my process in real time. Before we start, I just want to explain that to me, I put understanding before memory. So I will make sure that I understand the text before committing it into memory. Of course, you don't want to remember something that you misunderstood, right? So what I usually do, believe it or not, is to read the whole text first. Depending on the complexity of the text, I may simply skim through if it's a light reading. And with this text, which is quite heavy, in my opinion, I do what I consider as an intensive skimming. So I will skim through intensively, and then I do this to get to know what is inside the text and where to find certain information in the text, within the text itself. So now, as we read through, we will find the part in which you will find the information that you want to work on. So now we have arrived to this part, the six main categories of L2 learning strategies. So I highlighted it there for you here. So now, since we arrived to this part of the text that we want to work on, I will read through it, and here it says there are 6 categories of L2 learning strategies. So I will already have that mindset that there are going to be only 6 points that I need to look for here. So I will find it and I will read it. So here is 1. The other one is, this is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is the 5th one. And this is the 6th one. If I try to look for the 7th, yes, there is no 7th point. So all 6 points is here. So I will read everything that is under this part only intensively. So the next step is to summarize. My way to summarize is to strip it back to its basic form, somewhat like a skeleton or framework, if it's qualified to be called that. So I just use Microsoft Word to demonstrate it to you. Usually I will use pen and paper. So I will try to imagine how the writers drafted and organized their idea before they put it into paragraphs. So here I type it as a list, nothing fancy. Just now is, see, cognitive, metacognitive. And then we have memory, compensatory. We have memory and compensation. And we have affective and social. Let me give it a title. Main categories of LLS. So according to Oxford, there are 6 6 main categories. So here I listed it. So to me, this is the skeleton. So it's just a happy little innocent list here. So yeah, so here we have 6. So based on uh, more reading, I will read through one paragraph one by one, and then I found out that these are also grouped into either direct or indirect strategies. So for this one is direct, this one is indirect. So I just put in new information. This one is direct based on my reading. I just make it make something that I'm going to understand. This is indirect, I think. Let me check it for you later. And this is indirect. So these two major categories divides it into two. So I just need to reorganize this a bit so that you can see that there are two categories. So under direct, we have cognitive. Let me just copy and paste. We have memory. And we have compensatory. Under indirect, we have meta. It's easier if we just use pen and pencil here. Pen and paper, sorry. Affective. And lastly, social. So yeah, so this is the skeleton now. To me, this is the skeleton of this text. It's done, and we can see that there are two categories: direct and indirect. So then I add in more details if there is any, but for the sake of this demonstration, I will just carry on with the next step. So next, I can turn this into a mind map. So now with this information, I will put it into mind map. So this is when the memorization starts. Let's just make little simple mind map using shapes. So here it is the main point, and then this is another one. Of course, there is a proper way to do it, but this is simply to get along with the demonstration. So this one is direct, the other one is indirect. Sorry, just type it better. Insert shapes. So here we are, a very simple mind map. Let's just put arrows here. And then another arrow here. Very very simple. At least to me, I know that the main categories is divided into two groups. The first group is direct, and the second group is indirect strategies. So at least I know now that there are two, and all these six categories are the main are the derivatory of this topic here. So as I said, this is when the memorization part starts. So I remember things by visual cues. So I can say that I'm a visual learner. So part of the memory related strategies is the use of images to enforce memorization, right? So all the shapes, I mean the holistic shape of this mind map, even it is simple, to me all the shapes and patterns, the arrows or the partitions, these things help me to remember because I use visual cues to remember. So it's like I can see the bigger picture of the concept rather than remembering the small details, because if we understand and remember the whole concept in an organized way, the details can come later actually. And of course, if we forget the details, we can always refer back to the text, right? And the bonus is we already know what to look for and which part to read here. I know already that I just need to read at this part that we are looking at now for the details of each category. So I think that's all. That's how I understand and remember things. Just to recap, I read the whole text and then I skim to look for what information and where to find it in the text, and then I summarize as the skeleton. I reimagine what the draft of the writers look like, and I will put it in an order that I can visually analyze and remember it like this. So that's all. Thank you.